It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports, Pete.
Get ready for epic savings at Best Buy. Right now, you can save up to $700 on select Alienware and Dell gaming products. Perfect for leveling up your gaming experience. Plus, grab the latest Android Google Pixel at an unbeatable price. Don't miss these incredible deals. Shop now at bestbuy.com and upgrade your tech today.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level when we shut down to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Ready to bring your vision to life? At Small Rig, every idea, design, and product is inspired by you, the creator. With our industry-first under co-design mode and the Dream Rig free customization project, we unite with global creators to turn big dreams into reality. Whether it's a cage rig or mount, Small Rig's versatile gear is built to elevate your craft. Small Rig, where your creativity meets our innovation. Go to smallrig.com.
At Rolls Rolo, we don't just sell wallpaper, we create cohesive, cozy spaces. Our deep understanding of design means every pattern, color, and texture is carefully chosen to complement your home. Plus, we use advanced technology and water-based inks for vibrant, eco-friendly prints, ensuring a healthier environment. Visit rollsrolla.com to transform your space today. That's ROLLSROLLA.com today. At 25 Home, our ultimate goal is to provide you with a transformative experience, making each day feel like it has an extra hour. We believe your home is more than just a space, it's a sanctuary where comfort, relaxation, and happiness thrive. Discover the difference at 25 Home today. Shop now at 25home.com.
All right, the Pete Sousa Show. We are so happy to be with you today. It is a Monday. Final Four is set. Slovacics is in West waiting for you when you drive through to make the commute, whether you're going from Waco to Dallas, Dallas to Austin, whatever. Stop in West, go to Slovacics. Tell Ray I sent you. It'll continue to pour gasoline on this out-of-control fire partnership that we have right now with our friends over there at Slovacics. Also, Secor Family Ford, D1, Daniel Stark Injury Alert, Crawford Austin Properties, First National Bank of Central Texas. I was hanging with my man Dan Ingham a little bit this weekend doing some Baylor softball, which, by the way, at some point maybe I'll get Scotty to throw it up. I single-handedly broke up a no-hitter this week, which has never happened before for me. And I'll show you exactly how later on. That it actually was put on social media and caught fire. So the announcer speaking out of turn, breaking up no hitters. But we'll start with the Final Four. I can tell you Saturday night, I did the softball game, the Big 12 softball game. I was back home, and I was able to really dig in and watch Houston and Florida. And about halfway through the second half, like a lot of people, but I was sure that Texas Tech was going to win that game. They were manhandling Florida, and Florida couldn't make a shot, especially not from 3-point. I think they had, what do they have, 4 3-pointers in the first 34 minutes. And I did not foresee that they would knock down 5 in the last 5.5 minutes. And that is really where, Texas Tech's back was broken shooting free throws. And I don't know where you go to start to fix that. I'm not a coach. I think now in the transfer portal era, it's really hard to teach like mechanics and fundamentals. It's almost like if you got a guy who can't shoot free throws, that is what it is. But again, that's more of a conversation for Grant McCaslin. They missed 2 front ends of 1-and-1s late. Texas Tech did. And that really, really hurt them, really cost them the game. And, also the Clayton kid, it was out of control, finishing with 30 points. And you can talk to people about, well, Texas Tech should have put all their resources towards stopping him. There's no way he should have been able to go on that flurry. Those 5 threes I mentioned over the last 5 minutes of the game, he made 3 of them. However, if you actually watch the game, which you can see that it was just almost impossible to stop him. The one play where he grabbed a rebound and he was in the lane and then he dribbled back out and stuck a 3, like that's one of those deals where like, yeah, you would want to see better defense on that, but that's like a perfect script for him to knock down that shot. That's just a dude being a dude. And at some point you do have to tip your cap to players who are just like elevate to the next level in critical times. I didn't know that Clayton dude was so good. You got to remember, as much as I try to have a broad scope on the college game, doing all the Big 12 I've done this year, I don't get a chance to watch as much of these other conferences. I can say I am so secure in myself as a Big 12. I'm literally, I work for the Big 12, right? So I really hope the Big 12 does well. And I can say I'm very proud, full of pride, on how the Big 12 did on such a huge stage. I feel like there's an argument to be made that maybe this is almost as good as the SEC. I definitely think it's the second conference behind the SEC. I want you to remember now we've got 4 number 1 seeds in the Final Four, which is the first time in like 15 years. We came within an eyelash of having 2 Big 12 teams in the Final Four. And in a situation where we quite possibly would have had 2 Big 12 teams in the championship. Now that's out of the realm of possibility. Houston took care of business yesterday. And boy, did they take care of business. It's so funny. Again, like I find myself as someone who's partial to the Big 12. And as much as when I call a game, I'm cognizant of that, and I'll call it right down the middle, like an interconference game. But at the same time, like when I get done the softball game yesterday, I'm in the car and they're talking about how Tennessee's 1 of 15 from 3 in the first half and they're not shooting the ball well. I'm like, that's not shooting the ball well. You're playing Houston. Like, welcome to playing Houston, right? Welcome to Space City. That's really what I was thinking. And, and you get that like territorial, like weirdo stuff that we have as people, I think, like, you don't know, Houston does this well. Like I know when I parachute in to call a game, let's say it's like a North Texas game, and people have been watching North Texas all season long, and like I'll come in or I'll maybe won't give them the credit they deserve, or maybe I give the other team too much credit, and it's like nobody knows that team as well as the North Texas fan base, right? They've been watching every game, they've been listening to every game. Or sometimes this happens early on in the season, whether I'm doing like a Texas Tech game or a West Virginia game, and then some dude's parachuting in, calling the game and, not maybe punctuating some of the statistics and facts that you would like them to punctuate as a fan who's watched all season long. I was that guy this weekend with the Big 12, particularly Houston. I'm like, and even people online, like, and this is weirdo maniac stuff for me. I know it's like not normal, you know what I mean? But I'm like, no kidding. This is Houston. This is how Houston plays basketball. Let me get on Twitter and talk about it. You know, it's like, all right, dude, just chill out. It's very funny to have that reminder that I still, at the end of the day, am a fan, and that's how I ended up in this whole sports thing, right? I can tell you, when I watched that loss for Texas Tech, I was home alone, okay? After the game, I felt sick. I was like, I don't know that I'm going to be able to eat. I was really this upset, okay? I walked to Terry Black's. I got like a bunch of barbecue. I was walking back, and I was like really, really bummed. And I was like, dude, like I'm in my 40s. Don't worry about how late, but it's the sun's going down on the 40s. And I can tell you that I get frustrated with myself as to like, why do you care this much? Why does it matter to you that Grant McCaslin goes to the Final Four? Because you have had several encounters with him and think he hung the moon, think he's a terrific guy, right? And I think that's kind of okay. Like, I think I am that kind of guy. I've talked about it. Like, if I meet you and you're cool and you're affiliated with something, I'm going to pull for you. Great example. When King McClure and I did that influencer, Kai Sanat, he had that basketball tournament in Atlanta in October, and King and I went down there for 3 days and called 3 days of like, just like insane basketball. Kai Sanat playing against third graders. Leah Ball was sort of like the point person for this Blue Duck Media Group who ran the entire tournament. And it was amazing. We were at this practice facility in Atlanta for like, I forget the name of the team. I don't even want to get it wrong, but it was this beautiful AAU team, a practice facility. Everything was first rate. And this woman, Leah Ball, was at the forefront of it. And I didn't know like Leah Ball was Bruce Pearl's daughter. And probably one of the reasons I didn't know was because of how phenomenal of a person she was. Like, dude, I'm talking like worked around the clock, was so like, just like thinking of other people, right? Constantly in service. Like, what do you need? What do you need? It doesn't matter if you were the GM or the janitor. She's just like making sure everybody's cool. And so having an interaction with her and knowing she's a phenomenal person, it's easy to cheer for Bruce Pearl. Like, that's my connection, right? So the same thing with Grant McCaslin. I say all that to say this, like, I need to flush all that shit, because now I'm walking around the streets of Waco like an empty man because Texas Tech isn't going to the Final Four. It's the old Chris Rock joke, but like, I don't get a check. Well, I kind of do get a check from the Big 12, but it's not going to change. I don't get a check if Texas Tech doesn't go or goes or doesn't go to the Final Four. I do want to. I have great appreciation for my fiance Christy, and for her family and for my family, because as I was walking back all alone, like in the gutter, because these guys who have no connection with me, no appreciation for who I am or what I do, I would assume, couldn't put a basketball through a hoop. And now I'm like flatlined, right? And I thought to myself, thank God I'm getting married. Because sometimes you think, oh, my life's great. I'm single. Isn't it wonderful? I was like, thank God I'm getting married. Like, there's got to be more to life than this. There's got to be more to life than walking around Waco, Texas in your 40s with a bag of barbecue thinking about jumping off the top of the Alico building because Texas Tech isn't going to the Final Four. Like, I still have that in me. As much as I want to admit I don't, I do. And I think that's the amazing thing about sports. It really does get you going. And I'm trying to temper my expectations already, because 7:49 Central Time on CBS Saturday night, Duke will take on Houston. Now, anybody that has watched this show, anybody that has heard me talk, here goes Pete again. I have another, and you can get friends of mine to psychoanalyze this and talk about how I'm a nut job. Like, I think Kelvin Sampson hung the moon. You know, give me a chance to watch. By the way, I love coaches, right? Coaches save me. Like Coach Jim Reed at Richmond saved me. He offered me a scholarship. I had a heart problem. He very easily could have been like, nah, you know, we're going to reallocate your scholarship. You're not going to be able to play. At the very least, they would have had to honor it for 1 year. But then those things actually, at least they were when I was in school, the NCAA has to and the school has to kind of re-up with the NCAA. He didn't do that. He kept me in school. He made me a part of the football team. He rode my ass. All I did was drink and smoke weed, and he knew it, and he tried to get me to stop all the time. They would give me these phony drug tests that they said were from the NCAA, but they were actually from the school because they were just trying to catch me. That's a story for another day, but I can tell you how I beat a drug test. But that's not why we're here today. That's not, we're trying to put good stuff out into the universe. 13 years sober. That's what we're doing. But Coach Reed, made me a man. You truly did. He was like, you're going to graduate college. You're going to go to school. You're going to be accountable. And he rode my ass into understanding that was a reality. And I wasn't even healthy to play. But so that's kind of man it was. So I love hard-ass coaches. And Kelvin Sampson is a hard-ass coach who, his love language is accountability and discipline. And I've seen probably 3 of their practices since I've been calling games over the past 3 years. And I've done probably 4 or 5 of their games. And so you get time to talk with Coach Sampson. He loves baseball. He'll talk to you about baseball forever. He loves to talk family. And he's just a special, special guy. His whole, Houston's basketball program is like a family. He's at the top. His wife's up there with him. His daughter works with the team on the marketing arm. Obviously, his son Kellen is an assistant, the head coach in waiting. That program was nothing. From 1987 to 2010, when Tom Penders took him to the tournament, they did not go to an NCAA tournament. Houston didn't. Phi Slama Jama left dormant, right? Kelvin Sampson, hired by Mack Rhodes at Houston, resurrects this program and turns it into a monster. A monster. And here is why this is such an important run for Houston, if you appreciate Kelvin Sampson and what he has done, is because, and here's the tough news for Houston folks, in my opinion, the window is quite possibly closing on Houston's ability to win a national championship or to be a top 5 team consistently. And here's what I mean. It goes back to Fran Fraschilla, and when the Utah job was open, Fran said, the first thing I would do when he tweeted this out, and this goes for just about any job, but this is just to give you an idea, show me the money is what any coach that's up for any job should say right now. And what that means is not me. Sure, of course, I'm a major college basketball coach. I'm going to be compensated very well. But how much money do I have to go get players? And for Houston, Kelvin Sampson is the X factor with that. He is so special. And what he has done, with Jawan Roberts, who shows up at Houston at 6'8", 185, or 6'6", 185. Now the dude's 6'8", 240. And, the outside of him that has grown into this rebounding, inside scoring, muscle, hardcore machine of a player. Inside, he's also become a hell of a man, right? Playing for Kelvin Sampson for 4 or 5 years now. I don't know off the top of my head. It's at least 4. Could be 5. He's the winningest player in Houston basketball history, Jerron Roberts is. And he probably will be forever, right? Because that's the last. This is the last we'll see of this, unless there's another major shift that I don't see coming down the pike. Now, the reason that I can actually move through my heartache around Texas Tech, and these are just 2 programs here that are a microcosm of college sports, is because Texas Tech has all the resources in the world. Texas Tech has a lot of money. Texas Tech will not have problems continuing to bring players in, right? Continuing to elevate their roster because they have the money it takes to go into the NIL and pay these guys. Drop off the bag that these kids need. And it's not a knock on the kids because it's, what can you do? What are you worth? If in the market, in the open market, I'm worth $1 million a year. Well, that's what I'm worth. And that's what I'm going to try to get. And so you can't knock the players. It's an open market. And so you can't knock Houston if they don't have the money to compete in the open market. But that is a situation that could kind of start to rear its ugly head for some of these programs who are still driven by the amazing passion, personality, and really in Kelvin Sampson's case, he's the personification of what a coach is. If Kelvin Sampson leaves Houston, which at some point he will, and he will stick around for a while and help Kellen, but Houston isn't the monster that Kelvin Sampson is, right? They're just not. They don't have the resources. Texas Tech is a great fit because they've got this guy, Grant McCaslin, who could, if he wanted to right now, step out and be the next Joel Osteen, right? But he's not. Like that guy, by the way, Scotty, he'd be the best non-denominational pastor, like I believe. And I actually stole that from Mosley. Because I told Mosley, by the way, is on my shit list because he tweeted this. No, he tweeted this week. I was actually upset about this. He tweeted during the game. This was another thing. I was getting so weird this weekend, territorial.
Yeah.
He tweeted during the game that Fran Fraschilla was the only one that had Texas Tech going this far. Let's remember that. And I was like, okay, I'm not Fran Fraschilla, so why would Mosley ever tweet about me? But I did tell Mosley.
There's a lot of folks that had Texas Tech going to the Elite Eight.
And I did tell Mose, I guess I didn't tell him like specifically, but I believe Grant McCaslin, I think I said it here, will win a national championship.
You did say it here. I can confirm, yeah.
Yes, thank you, Scotty. So, but yeah, I think he will win a national championship, and I think he is super special.
I think what's funny about your Joel Osteen comment is that is true of every guy Scott Drew has ever had on staff. McCaslin, Jerome Tang, Paul Mills, Scott Drew himself. I feel like all those guys could take that same energy and go past.
Let me ask you a tough question.
Yeah.
You ready?
Yeah.
Would you rather have Scott Drew or Grant McCaslin right now?
Scott Drew.
Okay.
I mean, not knocking your opinion of Coach McCaslin.
And I don't know what my answer would be. That was just like off the top of my head.
But I think the fact that all these guys, and now another one with Coach Armstrong. I know he wasn't in Waco long, but
yeah,
Scott Drew continues to actually produce great head coaches under him, and at some point, that's a credit to him.
Is Coach Armstrong going to be a head coach?
Yes, he just took the job. Which job did he just take?
I saw
McNeese.
Yeah, he's feeling.
McNeese.
Yeah. Okay, so he's feeling Will Wade. Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like at some point, it's like, wow, look at all these great assistants he's produced.
Yeah.
Are they ever going to surpass him? It's like, well, they all got their shot, grew. Think about how long Tang was on staff.
20 years.
Yeah.
Dude. Like I think it was 19 years.
People don't talk about Driscoll, the first guy that really left the nest way back
Where'd he
in
go?
The day. South Florida, question marks. I don't remember. That's he left a long time ago. But yeah, like, no, I'd rather have Scott Drew. One, he's the only one that has won a national championship to this point.
Yeah.
Two, they all, I think, mirror him.
Yeah.
I like that. Again, that pastoral, charisma comment. Like Tang, Paul Mills, McCaslin are the three I know well. Like the way they talk, the energy, the values, it all comes from Scott Drew. Like that's all Scott Drew's leadership style.
Yeah. And that you bring up a great point. And Scott he kind of created the mold or broke the mold on that.
Broke the mold.
Yeah.
Broke the mold. I mean, we were talking about how like the mold for a successful college coach, football, basketball, baseball, I don't care, is more Kim Mulkey typically.
Yeah.
Bruce Pearl, you mentioned. Like bulldog, aggressive. We have seen Scott Drew get that way. Like we've seen him on the court in certain moments get intense. Like it's not like he's a total pushover or like just this soft, easy dude. Like he's a real coach, but like he has proven that like you can be just a different forward facing persona.
There was there was a great story of and I can't tell the whole thing, but basically it's just Grant McCaslin. So I did a Tech game with King, which is awesome, like because King knows Coach McCaslin, obviously haven't played for him. So those two start to talk about old days, and I'm just like a fly on the wall sitting there. And there are just some unbelievable stories, right? And some of them are like, McCaslin's right down the hall and Coach Drew is in his office. And like I remember there's a story about one player who I won't mention who he was, but is basically in Coach Drew's office. Coach Drew's like challenging him. And this guy just kind of goes nuts. Like, I don't F with you, coach. You're not a real one. Like to the head coach. And so Grant is like, he's down the hall and Grant kind of gets up and he's like, I probably need to go in there and just like make sure everything's cool. Like, everything good? But, to your point, Coach Drew's like, everything's fine. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
he's
not bothered by none
he's
of
not
this.
scared. He knows how to handle himself, and he is when he needs to be that authoritarian.
Yes.
You know?
Well, and it comes from there's a toxic version of Christian faith and a not toxic, and we both have experienced that.
Yeah.
Viewers would know that. Drew and I would say Sawyer Robertson, weird connection, did this in his interview with you too. They have the version of Christian faith is this game doesn't give me value. And so when adversity comes or when I'm challenged by someone else, it doesn't.
Aranda's the same way.
Yeah. Doesn't shake me at all. Like my value is placed somewhere else. So whether I lose a tough game, a player cusses me out, fans online are questioning my status, they just let it wash off.
Well, and that
makes you a better coach.
Well, and it makes you a better player too. I go back to it's funny because this will take us to a thread into our next segment, but with Frank Reich just getting named Stanford's head football coach.
Yeah.
He was a quarterbacks coach on the Eagles team that beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl.
Right.
And it was Frank Reich. Obviously, it was Doug Peterson. It was Nick Foles.
Yep.
And those guys were like, you could just say big time God squad.
Foles, big time. Yeah.
And so they were basically like, Nick Foles is basically like walking around that field, like throwing for 500 yards and no incompletions. Like
he was incredible.
Yeah, just like going toe to toe with Tom Brady, and he's just like basically like everything's powerful through God. He's telling himself like, and like if I screw up, it's not a huge deal because I know who I am.
Yeah,
and it's like in the right situation that leads to guys just loosening up and just
relax,
being able to do the absolute best they can do. And that's what I think those guys have. Another thing that McCaslin has, it's a little more of an edge than Coach Drew had. I think he does challenge guys a little more, which is weird because I see, Grant's not like a big guy, but he doesn't care. Like he will stand with his head in JT Toppin's chest and look up at him and tell him exactly what he has to do. And in no uncertain terms. And those guys, the right ones, appreciate that.
Energy, respect.
Yes.
Yeah.
Energy, respect. Yes. So the last thing I'll say about this as we wrap up this segment is go ahead.
I was going to say, Bear the Truth asked a really intriguing question, but finish your thought. And then
Well, my thought is the good news is everybody wins in this scenario this year. Houston, unfortunately, in my estimation, based on research and conversations and experience, probably doesn't have the arsenal they will need to compete at this level every year, NIL wise. Texas Tech does. So if you're heartbroken right now as a Texas Tech fan, there is a lot of light at the end of the tunnel. If you're a Houston fan, really enjoy this. Really, really enjoy this because, and I know they are, but there's only so much time left, right? So much sand left in the hourglass for Coach Sampson. And once he's gone, you just don't know what you're going to get, right? And so I would just really enjoy this because I don't know that they have exactly what they need to continue to bang the drum like they've been doing. And I think that Kelvin Sampson is just that special.
That leads perfectly into this question. So you asked me Scott Drew, McCaslin, and I thought that was easy. I'd take Scott Drew right now. He asked Scott Drew or Kelvin Sampson. And like that's like comparing two goats here. I don't
okay.
But I
now if I've got a game tonight, I want Kelvin. But as far as if I'm building a program, I want Scott.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
so you'd say win one game, you're taking Coach Sampson.
Well, and here's another thing about Houston that I saw. A lot of times people look at Houston and you can they're kind of thuggish or that, whatever. Like, the way that they play, they're just brutal, right? That out of bounds play at the end of the game was beautiful.
Awesome. And
I saw
that multiple analysts showing on tape. Like that was a hole that you could see on tape for Purdue if you watch their tape back. Yeah.
He's brilliant.
Yeah.
Kelvin Sampson is a brilliant coach.
For sure.
His ability to recruit, develop, and we saw right there, out of a timeout, X's and O's in the most crucial situation you will find yourself in, the dude's got the goods.
It's true.
So that's why I like Kelvin.
And as much as I love Scott Drew, one would have to be objective and say, outside of the national championship, which is the feather in his cap, Baylor has underperformed in quite a few tournaments.
Okay.
And I'm not just ripping Scott for that, but I guess I'm agreeing with your point. Kelvin Sampson seems to win games under pressure, and Drew has lost multiple seasons with really good teams.
Well, okay.
To lower seeds.
Now we're drifting to prisoner of the moment type stuff.
No. I'm thinking like Jonathan Motley in 2016. You were a 3 seed and you lost to Yale. Like that's what I'm thinking of.
Okay, here's one thing I'll say. We've said a lot. We've almost said it all. But if you look calling games this year, like and you can anybody can go online and access the Baylor's game notes from this year. The absolute resurrection that Scott Drew, and I know you agree, but
Totally.
but when you look at them and their wins and their rankings and their top 25 and the like it's Baylor and it's Kansas and it's Duke and it's like right up. Yep. I mean, like really. I mean,
it's the best resurrection story in sports.
It really is, and it's sustained. It's sustained success. So, and again, this was a down year where you make the second round. Now, I will say the clock is kind of ticking. Not on Scott Drew ever like being out of here, but just like I could see where the patience will be wearing thin for Baylor fans, right? I mean, after all the second round exits, that's tough.
It is tough, but I still like the man's going to be here as long as he wants. And as the day he retires, we'll have a statue. And like, I mean, come on, like it is the best resurrection story in sports. All
right. Cam Stewart is coming up in our third segment. We got a quick one coming back. We're going to talk a little bit about Frank Reich, Mike Tomlin, and some fights, some big fights. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back after these quick words from our sponsors. This is Rogue Media Network.
Founded in 1910, Samsonite is the world leader in durable, high-quality luggage and travel accessories. Made to the highest standards, our products won't let you down. We give you the confidence to get out there and explore. Inspired by the past, devoted to the present, and built to inspire a multi-generational future, Samsonite is here to elevate your journey. Travel with Samsonite and pack confidence every step of the way. Shop now at shop.samsonite.com. Samsonite. Dive into adventure with scuba.com, your ultimate destination for top-tier scuba and snorkeling gear. With over 20 years of experience, our expert staff, who've dived everywhere from the Galapagos to the Maldives, provides personalized advice to help you find the perfect gear for any underwater journey. Shop leading brands like GoPro, Aqualung, and Scuba Pro. Whether you're a beginner or a pro, trust scuba.com for the best in diving equipment and expert guidance. Explore now at scuba.com. That's SCUBA.com. Scuba.com. At Terrapin Ridge Farms, they believe in the joy of effortless entertaining. Inspired by CEO Mary O'Donnell's mom and her legendary holiday parties, they've crafted a line of gourmet foods that turn any meal into a celebration. From savory jams to mustards, aiolis, and more, their products are made with love, bringing unforgettable flavors to your table. Whether it's a casual get-together or a special occasion, they make it easy to impress. Terrapin Ridge Farms, where great food and great memories come together. Visit them at terrapinridge.com. Terrapin Ridge. Want to turn your passion into profit? With Blogify, creating a blog has never been easier. Build, customize, and grow your site with powerful tools designed for beginners and pros alike. Start sharing your story today and watch your audience grow with Blogify. Visit blogify.ai today for a free 3-day trial. That's Blogify, BLOGIFY.ai today.
And now, back to our show.
We are back to our show. It is the Pete Sousa Show. We are presented by Slovacics. Some news off the wire right when we started the show. A couple things. Stanford hiring Frank Reich as their head coach. Their recent coach, most recent one, was fired by Andrew Luck last week, which is the dynamic of that whole situation, right? Like Andrew Luck being in a situation where he's able to pull the trigger on something like that. I will say their coach was involved. He had been warned or investigated or whatever. Like there was some smoke around this stuff for a while, these accusations. And enough was enough, I guess. And you have to pull the trigger and make a move. This is right around, the start of spring football. So you hire Frank Reich. Look, that's a good idea. Initially, I'm like, wow, that's a terrible idea because like Frank Reich has just been like a dormant head coach. Again, I mentioned earlier today, he was a mastermind for the Eagles when they won the Super Bowl, but he hasn't really been able to recapture that type of coaching in the NFL. as a head coach, right? Most recently with the Panthers, he had an awful year. I believe this is a good idea, and I think it lends more to what we're seeing and saying is that, like, look, you want to come here if you think you're going to make the NFL. Well, Frank Reich's here. He can help you develop into the type of NFL player you want to be. He's an NFL coach. I think that is not a bad way to get recruits and transfers that you might need. There's still time, obviously. You can grab guys over the summer, and I think you can grab guys that are trying to make it to the NFL. And, oh, by the way, you get to go to Stanford. And that's pretty cool. So I think it's a good move. I do, like right off the top of my head. But the whole situation is kind of jarring just from soup to nuts. If I'm a Steelers fan this morning, I'm like, what the hell? Because Mike Tomlin comes out and says that he's comfortable with Mason Rudolph being the starter. And here's the issue with that. Like, Mike Tomlin is pretty honest. And when you watch the Steelers play, right, like, that's who they are. Like, and if I'm a Steelers fan, I'm like, enough already. It's almost like when I can bring it back to Baylor, when Spavital came and they fired Grimes. Like, it was so hard to watch that Baylor team in 2023 because the offense sucked. The quarterbacks were hurt. It was just like an anemic situation. And it was a tough watch. And the Steelers are always a tough watch. Even if I'm cheering for the other team, it still is like, oof. I mean, and I like the Steelers because they're a historic franchise. And I love Mike Tomlin. But I do think if I'm a Steelers fan, I'm like, God damn, more of this garbage. Like a patchwork quarterbacking situation again. But that could be a real situation. I think that Aaron Rodgers will make his mind up soon, or maybe he won't. Who knows with that dude? But that's something to keep your eye on. Like, what's going on with the quarterbacking situation in Pittsburgh? Like, if I was a fan of the Steelers, I'd be like, not again, dude. There's nothing exciting about that. And I'm sorry, I always say, like, these teams are like public trusts. Like, you want to keep the fans somewhat happy. So we'll see. But the Steelers might as well be like, they might as well sign up for like another wild card appearance and then get thumped in the first game in the wild card game. NBA last night. It came across my timeline as I was enjoying the White Lotus after I came up here and hung out with Scotty and Terrence doing Please Bear With Me, which, by the way, is an amazing show. Now, how much of this stuff do fans need? I'm not sure. I mean, Scotty, let's bring you up real quick. Scotty, I know you're doing work. I come up here last night. Scotty's got him and Terrence are all but sitting down, breaking down film from the 1983 Baylor football season. I mean, I'm not lying. I'm getting spider web diagrams of guys like, this is shit. The moment I came on, I was like, guys, I do want to be very clear. Like, I am out of my depth here. I'm way out of my depth. I can talk a little bit. I mean, these guys are going into like Seth Russell's throwing mechanics and where that has placed him as an all-time quarterback in the history of Baylor football. Yeah. But if you love Baylor football, like I believe there should be a monster sponsor behind this show, like a monster local sponsor.
Let's find one.
You've got Terrence Ganaway, right? A guy who literally maybe had one of the best postseason games in Baylor history.
If not for Johnny Jefferson, just a few years later, setting a bowl rushing record. Yeah.
Terrence had 5 touchdowns.
I think so.
In the Alamo Bowl, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
He was Alamo Bowl MVP.
Yeah. And he was a hell of a player.
And he was the Baylor single season rushing record holder until Abram Smith broke it in 21.
Yes.
But as he pointed out when I brought that up a couple weeks ago, Abram Smith had one more game to do it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And the thing about Terrence is not only does he have amazing experience, but he's got a wealth of knowledge, and he's so well-rounded as a sports guy. Like we were talking yesterday, I didn't know he played 5 sports in high school.
Yeah, and was a quarterback in high school. Yeah, small. It was like that small East Texas.
He'll talk to you about the Baylor baseball team. I was like, well, again, out of my depth.
He's coaching baseball for his kids right now. Yeah.
So it's a really cool show. And where can people get it, Scotty?
Thanks. Yeah, please bear with me on YouTube. Would love for you to subscribe. We go live every Sunday night. We're doing just a short run this spring, and it'll be every week during football season.
So will you be doing it Sunday nights during football season?
During football season, that will be the play.
I was up here last night in the studio, and I was thinking, because it was really awesome to guest on it yesterday, but I was like, wow, in the fall, This
we're
will
gonna
be
have so much
awesome,
fun.
dude.
Yeah.
Like this will be a really cool show because Terrence. The cool thing about Terrence is like, I joke when I say how much of the stuff that people need. People really do need it, right?
Yeah.
And Terrence is like a marathon man. Like he'll go the distance with you. He doesn't like you guys did 2 hours last night and some change.
We did almost 2.5 hours of
Yeah.
content last night.
And it was like it was rock solid and like the pacing is there for both of you guys. It's really good.
Thank you. Well, it helps that we're friends. Like,
Yeah, well, that's
when
huge
you
deal.
already are used to having dialogue with someone about these things, like you know each other's kind of rhythm and cadence and whatnot. But yeah, our goal, and we can talk more about it in August. Our goal in the fall is to be the one-stop shop where if you're a Baylor football fan and you just want the one place, we're going to break down the game that just happened. We're going to look ahead to the game coming up. We'll have guests on to kind of help us do that. But like the goal is to be fun and to be serious about football. Like we, find that line of like, we're not going to literally watch film with you, but we want to take you inside the game a little deeper than like a normal opinion or reaction show would.
Yeah. Better than Cam.
Let's tell him that when he gets here. But like we want to be the one shop every week for Baylor football.
No, dude, it's something's happening. So I'm super excited about that. I can't wait to come up here on a Sunday in the fall.
Let's go.
And even just sit in.
Thank you.
So after I did that, and I did tell Scotty and Terrence, I left here feeling better than I did before I came here, which is always a sign of like a good experience, a good show, good engagement. I got home and last night was goddamn perfect, by the way, except for I didn't have my lovely Christy with me. But I got home and I put on White Lotus. Like I'm just in time. Oh my God, that show. I'm telling you, we're going to have Tony Hayden on later this week to dive into it. It is, I might need to watch it again because I got to like pick up whatever I missed. I'm not going to tell you about that. I'm not going to break anything. Don't worry. But scrolling through because I'm an idiot, and I actually do put the phone aside when White Lotus starts for the most part. I see this fight come across my timeline, an NBA fight. Like I'm talking a 1994 NBA fight, except for it's 2025. I saw a clip yesterday. This was before this fight had taken place. Because I like to guess my algorithm, right? It was a Bulls-Knicks 1994 Eastern Conference Finals melee. And the melee took place when David Stern was in the stands. So that made it terrific. And my buddy Scott Williams was late into the melee, but he was trying to get involved. Anthony Mason throws him down. It was crazy. So last night, I'm scrolling through, and as fate would have it, I see the same thing. Let's check this fight out. This was like nasty. Scotty, throw it up there.
Advantage for Detroit.
Ron Holland was a really good high school player. Good fake.
Reed turned the corner and is fouled by Holland.
Man, oh, come on now.
Stevens. Big time brawl now in the front row.
Gotta stay.
It's going to take a lot to break this up.
You got to stay out of the crowd. This is not good.
This has been building on the last handful of possessions. Nas Reed had taken exception to Holland and was wagging a finger in his face.
The situation at all, in my estimation. They all came running over there.
And so, again, just looks like a regular foul by Holland, but Nas Reed
plays under review for an altercation.
Wagging his finger. Holland pushing DiVincenzo. And so they get.
So that was pretty crazy. I mean, and I was talking to Christy afterwards, and like she's got to be like normal. I'm like, how about that? It was amazing. She goes, you just worry about the people that might have been caught underneath. I'm like, okay, of course I worry about that, or not really. But then I saw this clip because all this stuff was going last night, right? You could talk shit about the internet and Instagram. They got this guy down. So here's a clip that came through my phone. This is Cedric Maxwell. Is Cam up yet? Okay, Cam, pay attention to this. This is Cedric Maxwell playing for the Celtics. Celtics Sixers game 6, 1981 Eastern Conference Final. Now I'm going to tell you this because I know what happened. I know the context of this fight. Ced gets thrown into the stands at the Philadelphia Spectrum, so he's on the road. This fan, who I want you to keep an eye on, he's got like this. He's this old white guy. He's got like a Madras jacket on. Now he's probably like 32, right? But in this video, he looks like he's 60 already. And Cedric Maxwell bumps into him, and the guy says, "Get the F back in the game." And then Cedric Maxwell turns around and legit attacks this dude in street clothes. I want you to watch this.
Out of the lane. Oh, good. Maxwell and Dawkins going at it, and now Maxwell goes into a foul and goes after a fan. Maxwell goes after a fan, and there's Bedlam in the stands here, and Bill Fish is over there. Dawkins and Bill Fish.
Now the issue here, let's do that one more time. Like, Philadelphia fans are maniacs. Like, they really like want to be a part of the fight. Like, but watch this idiot. Like, Maxwell turns around and he's like, "Oh, really?" You see that?
Maxwell and Dawkins going at it, and now Maxwell goes into a foul.
Cornbread, baby. Let's go. But that's and JB Bickerstaff after the Pistons game last night, and he talked about that. Like, it's unacceptable. Like our team knows that if you're going to behave like that when you're playing us, like, we are going to come after you. Like, those are rules for us. Like, I love JB. I've spoken about that, working with him in Charlotte. And what the Pistons have done is amazing this year. And if they're bringing more of that to the NBA, and that's, by the way, why JB was complaining a couple weeks ago, like, we just don't get any respect. Like, we're this blue collar bunch. We're busting everybody's ass, and we still don't get calls because we're the Pistons. I don't know that they might get a call from Adam Silver after that, but I appreciate old school basketball. Cam Stewart, we're going to talk a little baseball. I want to talk about these bats. What the hell is going on? And I want to ask Cam about March Madness too. So happy to have Cam. It's been long. We went a whole week without him. And I texted him this morning. I said, "I need you, bud. We got to talk about these goddamn bats." Cam Stewart coming up.
We'll be right back after these quick words from our sponsors. This is Rogue Media Network.
Experience the perfect blend of exquisite craftsmanship and life-changing technology with Gevi. Every product is built with precision, featuring specialized parts that ensure durability, efficiency, and safety. We put every machine through 6,000 rigorous tests to guarantee long-lasting performance. With cutting-edge technology and a commitment to energy efficiency, Gevi makes your life easier, greener, and more convenient. Upgrade your everyday with Gevi. Visit us at gevi.com to discover more. That's gevi.com. Cleanse your body of accumulated toxins and embark on your wellness journey at your own pace. At Global Healing, we provide premium supplements to help your body heal naturally. Combine that with OrganicHemp.com's top quality CBD for ultimate balance. Start your healing journey today at globalhealing.com and OrganicHemp.com. Transform your workspace with Hanomi Ergonomics. From adjustable chairs to standing desks, we provide solutions for comfort and productivity, whether at home or in the office. Improve your posture, reduce strain, and work smarter. Visit us at hanomi.co today. That's HINOMI.co today. Experience the future of secure private cloud storage with Internex. Protect your files with end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data stays private and accessible only to you. Enjoy seamless, fast storage without compromising security. Visit Internex.com today and take control of your digital life. That's INTERNXT.com today. Calling all Marvel fans, get Marvel Unlimited and unlock over 30,000 comics featuring your favorite heroes and iconic stories, all available to read anytime, anywhere. Whether you're into classic tales or the latest adventures, there's something for everyone. Don't miss out. Head to marvel.com/unlimited today and start your Marvel journey now.
And now, back to our show.
Pete Sousa Show, yes! There he is, Cam. Cam, it's been a while, bud.
It's been a minute. Yeah, I'm surprised you could get on with the show without me. I don't know.
I had a whole week without you, and it was sad.
By the way, this is a throwback Pete Sousa look. That beard is really starting to fill in. Like, if you look at the old KWTX pictures, this is what Pete Sousa looks like. Yeah.
This is it, man. We're back. We're back with the beard. We're really giving no Fs this time of year.
Hell
you should be giving some Fs because the Boston Red Sox are 1-3. Okay.
Yeah.
By the way, how fun is this? You got your Red Sox hat on. They play today at 1:30.
Yeah. Yeah. Right back at it. It's baseball, baby.
Are you watching all these games?
I haven't missed an inning of the first 4 games, unfortunately. Grace was away for the weekend, so I was just here and I was just watching baseball all weekend.
Where was Grace?
She works at a school, so she was on spring break. So she was visiting some friends and her sister. So
oh, nice. And you stuck back in Chicago and just
someone's got to take care of this dog, So here I am, opening weekend of baseball. And what's great is you get more, like you said, you get more day baseball this week. The Red Sox will have one today. They might. I don't think they'll have one on Wednesday. No, I don't think it's a getaway day. But then they'll have their home opener on Friday too. So that'll be a day game as well.
When is that? Don't you guys do something soon with the marathon? When does that happen?
It's Patriots Day, so it's going to be 2 weeks from today, April 14th.
Patriots Day.
10 a.m. baseball, baby.
It's a manufactured holiday. I mean, for you guys. For the rest of us, we call it 4th of July. All right.
Well, no, it's not the same. Pete, one of them's in July.
Yeah, I know, but
one of them's in April.
Manufacturing a holiday.
It's, the birthplace of this country. It's supposed to celebrate the battles of Lexington and Concord. So,
yeah, but the Declaration.
You're welcome. You're welcome for that.
The Declaration of Independence. We took care of it.
That's just a document. We had lives.
All right.
Piece of paper.
15 home runs by the Yankees
with
these new torpedo bats. Well, do you have any concern that your nemesis, right? The Yankees, they're up to some smoke again, dude. Look at that. And your boy Portnoy did a whole video on it about how they need to be outlawed immediately. And I don't, a lot of times Portnoy will do that. He's always got interesting takes, but I agree with this one.
So Portnoy, he should really keep his sports view very narrow. I've heard him talk some hockey lately. It's bad. Heard him talk some baseball for the first time forever. Not great. And look, when the Yankees saw what the Red Sox were doing in the offseason and they went out and got Garrett Crochet and signed Alex Bregman and all this, they were like, we've got to do something else. We have to keep up with these guys who haven't made the postseason in 3 years. As much as I want to search for something to be outlaw this, cancel the Yankees, make them forfeit the games, I can't find it, Pete. I don't know. MLB will probably act on this, but I don't think they should, if we're being honest.
Why not? Dude, you can't. That's like using aluminum bats.
Well, but no, because they only have rules on how big the diameter can be or the circumference, whichever one it is. Scotty knows. He's smarter than us. Yeah. How wide the bat can be. And it's within that. They're just taking some room off the top, which if you're gonna hit it off the end of the bat, it's not gonna be good contact anyway. So I understand exactly why they're doing this. Every team is doing something like this in terms of their in spring training or when they're literally just practicing off the tee. The Red Sox had this whole story about it in the offseason about using thinner bats or using smaller bats, and it's all to get guys to barrel up balls more and to use more of their hands to barrel rather than trusting just the bat. And that's essentially what the Yankees are doing here with this torpedo bat. I know there were a couple of other players who used it over the weekend, but I mean, yeah, it looks like a boomer bat that you'd play wiffle ball with, that you'd play wiffle ball in gym class and the girls who didn't play softball would be able to use the boomer bats. That's what it looks like. But the MLB doesn't have much of a leg to stand on here. I will say this, though. They didn't really have much of a leg to stand on with the sticky stuff for pitchers because they let them get away with it for years. And then one day in 2021, they were just like, all right, can't do it anymore. And it was instant like that. So maybe they can do that with the bats, but
I hate it. I hate the bats. I hate them. MLB needs to get in and step in because it's another thing where, it's almost like, steroids or performance enhancing drugs. You're always going to stay one step ahead of the sheriff because these people are so bright that are actually the people in labs that are making this shit, they make it undetectable to drug tests. This is another thing where it's they're one step ahead of the sheriff here, but at the same time, it's out there for all of us to see. And if this is really enhancing their ability to hit the ball that dramatically, I think that they need to make a change. I do. I think they need to go back to how, because it's not like baseball. I don't know. Do you think it lends to the excitement of the sport? Like overall, as a fan of baseball, you think this will be good?
I mean, yeah, because there'll be more home runs, but then again, there will be plenty of people like you, Pete. And honestly, I kind of feel this way too. Like you see it and you're like, that's kind of bullshit. You know, like you see the pictures of the bat and you're like, really? This happened in an MLB game? You know what I mean? So there will definitely be some of that, but I think, more home runs, people are going to love it. I think it's going to take away from the pure part of the game, for being honest.
Do you think they'll change it?
Yeah, I think they will.
Like
I'm not saying it's fair, but I would say by the end of the season. Yeah.
End of the season, dude.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be stunned if they do it in the middle of the season again, like they did with the sticky stuff. They just said, "Okay, let's stop," and obviously this would be easier to enforce, right? You just can't have those bats. Everyone can see it. Sticky stuff you could hide in your glove or hide in your hat or whatever the hell, but you can't really do that with these bats. So
here's a question for you.
Well, I think more teams are going to do it before they outlaw it, by the way.
Well, I think you're going to see a lot more of it here's my question. If this is so effective and 15 home runs in 3 games, that's pretty damn good. And I know the Yankees are great, but that's pretty damn good, right? Do you think, why did it take them so long to make this change? Why haven't more teams done it?
I don't know. Yeah. Apparently this thing was thought of a couple years ago too, and guys have been using it in off seasons. I don't know what took this long, to be honest with you.
Does anybody on the Red Sox use it?
Be careful there, Pete. Be careful. No. Apparently there were some guys using them in camp in spring training, but no one's used them in a game. There was like 2 or 3 other guys that used them over the weekend for different teams. I want to say one was in Cleveland. They were kind of Jags. They were nobodies, but
Jags.
A little Bill Parcells term, huh?
I mean, Christ, Cam. What, were you born in 1941?
Dude, I love using the term jag. Are you kidding me? It's easier to say than quadruple A. So,
by the way, Zach Burke is in here reading a book. I mean, this guy's the best. He's over there reading a goddamn book, and he's really reading it. It's right side up and everything.
You got pictures in it?
No, I don't think so. Zach's smart.
Zach is smart.
So he is. Look, he's nodding his head. Your overall review of the first weekend of baseball. How do you feel it was received? Do you feel it was a big enough deal? Was it not a big enough deal? I have this interest in baseball as it goes to it being like a dying breed, right? Like,
and as you get older,
I want it to survive.
Sure.
I love baseball, right? I don't have the interest I used to, but after the first week, the returns are in. What are your reviews?
I mean, it wasn't as big as it should have been, but that's not surprising to me. Again, I hate the way that MLB handles this. We've got those 2 games in Tokyo a week and a half before everyone else plays, and it's played at 6 a.m, and nobody knows where to watch it, and there's no buzz to it. There's no marketing for it, and part of that has to do with the with the deal being up at ESPN and ESPN cutting it short, but there's no buzz to it. And then a week and a half later, everyone else starts. And then I'm trying to get in to watch the Red Sox on opening day on my MLB TV app, the only way that I can watch the Red Sox. And the whole app is down. Like everyone on Twitter, it's burning down. I didn't get into the 4th inning of game 1. And I'm thinking, you've got to be kidding me. Like MLB, you just can't get out of your own way. Like this is the day you're going to get the most traffic and you can't handle it. You weren't ready for it. And, all the games on opening day were starting at the same time. There was no staggered, like here it's going to be all day. They should have started on a Wednesday because they knew full well the NCAA tournament was going to be played on Thursday and Friday. They should have started on a Wednesday and had 3 or 4 time slots, but they don't have the networking for that anymore. And so it just doesn't have much of a buzz at all.
Wow, and that's funny. That's crazy to hear that they don't have the networking for that anymore.
They don't. They acted like bitter teenage exes, with ESPN. They're like, we'll find somebody else. Like, you probably won't. You'll put it on Apple TV, and your clientele that watches MLB does not have Apple TV and doesn't know how to get Apple TV. Go ask Bill Stewart, friend of the Cam Show, how to get Apple TV to watch the Red Sox on a Friday night. He says, I'll listen to it on my computer. I'll pull out the transistor radio and listen to Will Fleming do the game on EEI. Like, they don't do that. And they think this is just an easy stream fix. It's not.
To be fair, I have to chime in as the MLS guy here. Apple TV has done excellent work for Major League Soccer. But Cam's point about target audience probably stands.
Yeah, MLS, you want to get young. I mean, everyone wants to get young fans in there, right? But MLS, to Scotty's point there, like indirectly, is a young sport. Like a young
I feel like there's a much
for
better ability for them to navigate that world.
Yeah. In fact, they could do great on something like Hulu, I think, or Amazon Prime. It's something that every young person has and everyone in that target audience. MLB doesn't have that. And obviously you want to get younger. You want to have that. It's just Apple TV, man. I don't know. Or I know they've tried, I think Prime, they did like one game. Do you have any idea? I was going to ask you this, and I'm not saying you're Peter Gammons or Jason Stark or Tom Verducci. I am from the same state as Peter Gammons. So
I am curious, what do you foresee happening with this TV deal with Major League Baseball? Where do they end up? Where do they go?
It really beats the hell out of me. It's going to be one of these second-rate streaming services. And by second-rate, I mean like, Netflix is first rate, top rate, cut rate. Yeah. Everybody has it. Something like Apple TV or Paramount Plus, which I love, is one that is second rate because it's just not part of all the streaming services you hear about. You know what I mean? I don't know how else to say it. It's not one of those top tier ones that you get. So I think MLB is probably going to settle on one of those. I think if they swallow their pride and take a little bit less than they think, I think Fox Sports can work out a good deal for them. But even Fox Sports, man, I mean, it's not like ESPN. Nobody knows where FS1 is, in the greater audience of sports,
I'm going to have to find it today to watch The Crown.
Yeah. That's big time, baby.
4 basketball games on.
Yeah. So I think it's going to end up on something like that. But really what MLB should be focusing on first and foremost, and I think they've made some headway here, is just fixing the RSN situation. If you have a good, strong, and I think we talked about this after this thing came down, Pete, was if you have a strong regional sports network, you're okay. Like, and the markets that were going to survive are still going to survive but there are some markets that still don't really have a regional sports network in the aftermath of this whole Bally thing 2 years later.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And NESN, and by the way, NESN's a great one that covers the Red Sox. But if you're out of market and the MLB app doesn't work, you're up Schitt's Creek without a paddle, paying $30 a month for NESN Plus, like to give you just Red Sox games or Bruins games and no original content. It's kind of the same thing with Apple TV. It's like, yeah, I would do that just for the games, but there's no extra benefit. Like if I'm not watching Ted Lasso, there's no reason for me to have Apple TV. It's the same thing.
Maybe Rogue will take it over.
I think Corey Dickman should be alerted to this. I think he should be briefed on the situation.
Send Josh Beard out to Fenway Park, and we're like, look, just hold the camera straight. All right, don't worry.
Wide shot.
All right, Cam, you're coming up next. Why don't you have me on sometime this week? All right.
Hey, we got big appointment television this week. I'll be working in front of the TV. We've got a trial starting back up tomorrow.
Karen Reed starts tomorrow?
Yeah.
Jesus.
No fooling. It's big. That's big.
All right. Can I come on to talk about Karen Reed at some point?
Sure. I should have had you on today, but I'm kind of flimsy on the third segment. You want to come on the third segment? Do you have time for that?
Yeah, I'll do the third segment.
You sure?
Yep.
I don't want to. Okay. All right. You hear? Tell Zach. Pete Sousa.
Zach, I'm going to be on Cam's show in the third segment.
He doesn't really need to know.
All right. That's all for our show. I actually really have to go to the bathroom. So
all right. And I have to.
That's it. All right. We cut Cam off. I got to run to the bathroom. I'll be on Cam's show. We'll be back here tomorrow. Tomorrow we have Chris Spatola from ESPN on, college basketball analyst. We're going to talk to him about the Final Four. Obviously he coached at Duke when they won a national championship. So be really cool to check in with him about March Madness, which continues to march on. The Pete Sousa Show presented by Slovacics. Back tomorrow.
It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports, Pete.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at 70 miles an hour. I was injured, had a concussion. The insurance company, they delayed. They were playing games from the initial conversation. They weren't going to help me. The biggest thing I learned through this is that you can't go through this alone. I called Daniel Stark. They were going to help me and everything was going to be all right. Daniel Stark got me 10 times the insurance company offered.
The difference is stark.
Experience the future of secure private cloud storage with Internex. Protect your files with end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data stays private and accessible only to you. Enjoy seamless, fast storage without compromising security. Visit Internex.com today and take control of your digital life. That's INTERNXT.com today. Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. Whether at home or on the go, NordVPN ensures your digital freedom. Stay secure. Download NordVPN today at nordvpn.com. That's NORDVPN.com.
Farmhounds offers natural treats and chews made with quality products that support family farms, regenerative agriculture, and humane farming practices. Give your dog the best with wholesome, organic ingredients that promote health and happiness. Shop now at farmhounds.com.
Transform your workspace with Hanomi Ergonomics. From adjustable chairs to standing desks, we provide solutions for comfort and productivity, whether at home or in the office. Improve your posture, reduce strain, and work smarter. Visit us at hanomi.co today. That's HINOMI.co today. At Acasis, innovation drives us. Since 2008, we've been creating cutting-edge technology products that make your life easier. With a focus on performance, design, and customer service, we're here to help you work smarter, not harder. Join us on our journey to simplify your world. Visit acasis.com today. That's ACASIS.com today.
Sports.